I'm out in the forest with my deep thoughts. I appreciate all the comments I've been getting on my videos. It actually is challenging for me to put myself out there, and I have a very strong Virgo rising, so part of me is always like, if it's not perfect, don't do it. But I know that is actually a shadowy aspect of Virgo, and it needs to be recognized and worked with. So that's why these videos are just very raw and real. A little bit about me. I'm 54 years old, and I have been on a very intense quest to really understand what the nature of this reality, especially, well, it started really, long ago, but in 2016 is really when I took more conscious action to make changes and to go through healing and understand who I was really and what was something I took on, just kind of clearing the path so I could see what my true person, my core destiny was, and kind of cut out all of the things that were distracting me from that. And part of that's been to make changes, and I'm also in my midlife journey, which is really the reason why there's a crisis in midlife, is because you're setting yourself up for the next half, or the next, the final chapter. And you want it to be good, because if you're not happy now and you're like, just keep going with that, well, it may not get better. And really, we're meant to thrive here. We're meant to just embody our greatest destiny and purpose. And part of that was my path with astrology. I was fascinated with astrology for years, and then began to study. I studied shamanic astrology, took their courses. I really liked the approach because it was very rooted in the traditional understanding of astrology, and that sun sign horoscopes had really destroyed a lot of astrology in the papers and things, because really it's more than your sun sign. You have a lot of aspects and energies that relate to the inner, relates to the outer. So the planets affect the inner energy centers, and I really do believe in that. Now, with the events that have happened in politics recently, there is I noticed some astrologers going right into Trump's chart and like getting into those aspects. Well, okay, there's a thing that's happening. The thing that is happening is that there is, people in this realm that are trying to control things, and they use astrology. They use astrology to maximize the benefits of what they're trying to do, which is manipulate us. So, and this can be all like labeled conspiracy, but there's a lot of history in this realm of the controllers, which are people who are trying to control things. There are old family bloodlines. Which are our big corporations. They manipulate the field, the energy field. So doing this attempt, whatever it was, on this certain timing for Mr. Trump is like, it gets its maximum benefit because the energies support it. Now we can look at things like 9/11 that happened when planets were in a certain alignment. Well, guess what? When we went into lockdowns, the planets were in that same alignment. So they use astrology. So it's like a whole thing to manipulate us. So understanding our own astrology kind of takes that power and puts it in our own hands, because it helps us to thrive, to know more about ourselves. And this is my whole thing through living through a lot of these situations, political situations that try to really manipulate the public and get them into one camp or another. We have to recognize what's happening. And I remember I've been through Y2K, I've been through 9/11. I haven't been through any of the wars, the world wars, but I'm not old enough. But there is a manipulation that happens. And I follow many people who have done chronologies with these old books, who have created timelines, and you can see the patterns that keep happening with these manipulators, trying to control things. They seed the field, they agitate the other side so that they get attacked. There's all these like little strategies, and so it's never what is just put out there. There's like layers and layers of manipulation going on with every political movement. And what results for us is more limits on our freedom. So regardless of what side you're on, which is a whole other issue, because everything in this realm says be in neutrality. And when you're in neutrality, you can be the observer. And, we've been conditioned to take a side. The pandemic was kind of the last straw for me, because, of course, I went into one side and thinking I was on the right team and this and that, and really realized how it took me out of my own life path to get absorbed in the traumas and dramas. And yes, there were a lot of things happening that were tragic, and but also if you look at the way they did it, and then the way they would, quickly turn around, like all of a sudden we're in lockdowns, and then all of a sudden we have to get out on the streets for Black Lives Matter. It's like it's constantly like, how can we move people in masses and control the masses? So I was on the phone with I know I'm just like pulling in all these random thoughts, but it all connects. I was on the phone with my father this morning, and he said, well, it could have been a better shot. And I was like, you want somebody dead? You don't even know this person. It was just like, how have we become this people who wants the other team dead? Like, that is really, we don't even know the depths of what is going on. And so, and then I said that, I said that to him, and he was like, oh yeah, why am I? But it's like a talking point that was put out there, and then it becomes talked about, and then I don't understand. I mean, I live in California. I don't understand how, the good people are the ones that want the other guy dead. It's like, that is really, I don't know. That's not being good people, if you ask me. And it's not going to solve our problems either. So that's the other thing, is that there's an illusion that we can fix things through politics, even though we have seen nothing good really come of politics. Over and over, we're told to do something. We have to do this, otherwise it'll be awful. But it's like, wait a minute, The good people have been in charge for a long time, and there is not good things happening. There is war. There is, more money for the military industrial complex. There is all this stuff happening. What is the good about you? you know, and they're just, it's a really, up is down and down is up with politics. And through history, you can see, and not your traditional history, that is only one aspect of history. If you look at some of these different channels and just start looking at old books, there's a lot that we forget and that is left out of our history. And really, it's liberating to go into these different understandings of history. And what is common is that there's always a psyop counter psyop. And basically through the pandemic, that's what we were going through. They were putting us into one camp or another. And that put us against our family members, and it really did a lot of damage. And to create division is to weaken the people. But it was done through a mass manipulation, through social media, through all kinds of media. They had this new tool, social media. They could just get people to take on the talking points, and then it's off and running. So it's really good to recognize when you feel pulled out of your center by information. And it's also really cool to just explore and be curious about the alternative understanding of history. Because even though it's not mainstream, there are so many, and I think a lot of people were mobilized to understand this. A lot of these channels that I follow, and I have them on my Be Curious playlist. It's called Be Curious. They were motivated by, having near-death experiences, and then having this whole other reality come through where it's like, whoa, I was out of my body. I could see myself, and I knew there was more to this place. And there is more to this place. That's what's so exciting. But if you just take on the surface level understanding of this reality, then you're kind of left with just like a doom story. And that's another thing. Since I was a child, I've been told, through different means, that we're doomed. There's always this doom story. So that's part of me that's just like, oh, okay, whatever, I'm not falling for that anymore. If we are doomed, we're doomed, whatever. But it's to keep playing this, every event becomes this intensified, oh no, this is the one. And it's when you start to realize how many times they've been saying this over and over, that it's just okay, enough of this. It's not, I know that through history there have been cataclysmic events, and there have been, really harsh realities that have happened. But to constantly be prepped for it is what's really keeping people out of their own power. And out of your own power is out of your center. So that's why I feel like we have to really become conscious of our thoughts and what we're taking in the media, and how we're being manipulated. So that's a little friendly message today. I know I was talking about my path to get here, but I think I I think I covered it. I mean, part of it is just a deep uncovering through all these events, is just like, oh, and part of it too is developing my intuition and really getting clear with my own thoughts. And really, the consciousness about our behavior is what's so crucial. And I've done a lot to get to this place. And it feels so liberating. And I really feel like there's so much magic here. There's so much love here. There's so much beauty here that we really, if we tune in, we can find it. And the way out is in. So going in is the way. Going in is the best way. And everything in the outer world seeks to distract, except nature. Nature puts us back in the inner and the outer symbiosis.